Now look, just to make sure that people understand, when you see this story, 4 houses burned, they're not talking about real houses burning. What they're talking about, it's astrological. It has to do with the zodiac. Okay, now I'm going to show you something from the Bible where it deals specifically with this exact thing so that you understand what these guys are doing. Okay, somebody wrote, if you look at the comments, that he thinks that it's insurance fraud. It's got nothing to do with that. It's got to do with they're playing out the story. Except this is a real serious story. Now let's look. Now look, when the disciples talked to Jesus and they said, you know, you're going to be leaving and going home, basically, to heaven, how will we know when the time is that the end will be? So let's see what Jesus said to him. And he said unto them, behold, when you enter into the city, there shall a man meet you bearing a pitcher of water. Follow him into the house where he enters in. The key word here is house. Okay? That's why you have this here. 4 houses burn. Okay? This, Jesus is telling him to find the guy with the water pitcher. But in reality, what Jesus is saying here, and I'm sure you've seen this before, and if you haven't, it'll come to you in a minute. See these zigzags? Remember what that's from? Yes. This is a zodiac sign for Aquarius. It means that the cycle is starting over again. That the end of things and the beginning are colliding. All right? It's going from one to the other. And so he's telling them on a zodiac scale, follow the man with the water pitcher into that house. Do you understand what's being said here? You see, they're not putting this logo here for nothing. Now, if we go back to this over here, you'll remember this. So it says, I am, and that goes back to the Alpha and the Omega. That's the beginning and the end. It's the circle. I am. And if you look, here's the Viacom logo. And here's the logo from Aquarius. It's the end of things. You know, it's basically what we're doing here is called eschatology. It's a study of the end of things. And so by looking at these videos and making these videos, you're participating in this study of eschatology, the end of things. And this is the end of things, trust me. I've tried to turn my head and twist this and contort it every way I can to prove that it ain't, but it is. Because Jesus said it right here. Find the guy with the water pitcher and follow him into his house. Houses are part of the zodiac. The zodiac is split into 4, and each house, I think, has 3 signs to it or whatever. But in this case, it's Aquarius because it's dealing specifically with water. We were just in Pisces, and I know that because that's my birth sign. And that's it. That's ending. Pisces is the last one. The beginning is Aquarius. The return to the golden age of Saturn is the age of Aquarius, which is that crap-ass, shit-ass song from the 60s saying this is the dawning of the age of Aquarius, and everybody's saying love and trust abounding. Are you fucking kidding me? Love and trust abounding? Have you seen the signs around town? If you see something strange, call someone. Does that sound like love and trust abounding? They're trying to take away your rights to guns. Does that sound like love and trust abounding? See, people have contorted this end of the world scenario where everybody lives in peace. The 1,000-year reign ain't of Jesus Christ like people think. It's a fascism, because fascism is God's law. And God's law is you do it or you die. Okay? That's God's law. That's the God of this world's law. Okay? The court system is justice. That's man's law. That's totally different because there's leeway. Fascism is do or die. So you're entering into the 1,000-year reign of fascism. Okay? And the other only 2 guys I know that talk about 1,000 years is one was Hitler with his 1,000-year Reich. Okay? And the second one was George Bush with 1,000 points of light. Okay? So you figure it out where that's going. It shouldn't be hard. But here, Jesus clearly told us that the end or the beginning will be, if you find the man with the water pitcher, follow him into his house. You can dig deeper into that if you want to and find out about the house. But my point is, to clarify, 4 houses burn is a bullshit story. I don't care if they burnt the guy's house to the ground. It was done with the intention to carry on the story. Because we're living in a freaking storybook, for lack of a better word. You see it as the news, but these guys are acting it out. And I'm not so sure it's happening on this level. We're seeing a residue of it happening on a level. But it's hard to explain. It's like there's 2 realities working at the same time. You know, like there's a positive and a negative to a picture. They're identical, yet they're separate. So, without trying to get into all of that, you know, Jesus already has clarified what this is. And once you understand what you're looking at, and when he says go to the house, we're talking astrological. And we're entering the age of Aquarius. And the age of Aquarius is not a good time. When they say, you know, the lion will lay down with the lamb, and man will beat his spears into plowshares, it's because you're going to do that, or you're going to die if you don't do that. Okay? You won't be able to make war with anybody, because we will be fucking watching you 24/7. So for all you freaks out there that think the world's entering this peaceful bliss age of new age and all that bullshit, believe me, what do you think, this is the first new age? You know, the new movie that's coming out, Iron Man 3, there's 5, there's 5, there's been 5 of the, we'll just call it rings of Saturn. I showed that to you in the Olympics. One of them is the Age of Iron. That's where men started killing each other with fucking weapons. Okay, so Iron Man 3. 3 is Saturn, Iron Man. That's destruction. Okay, the Age of Aquarius might be a well-to-do thing after all of that shit's done, but believe me, we ain't anywhere near that yet. Nowhere. None. This hokey bullshit that you're seeing on the news that's being construed by people in dark shadows. And when I say dark shadows, I don't mean Barnabas Collins. I mean really dark shadows. Is being all contrived to get mankind to think a certain way. To live in fear. To live in oppression. Not to trust each other. If you want an idea of what it was like, go study World War II Nazism. And once you understand what that is, you'll understand what's behind all of this. This isn't as big a mystery as you think. It's really laid out pretty straightforward if you know what to look for. So we know that this symbol is the I am, Aquarius. It's the beginning of the thing. It's the whole thing. And that stupid thing, if you have it on your cars, take it off. That ribbon for soldiers or for cancer, whatever. Because this is what that thing is. You see it right here? This is off of a Nazi fucking ring. Will you fucking wake up and start understanding what symbols are? Unless you're a fucking Nazi, take it off your car. Just because they tell you it represents cancer awareness. Cancer awareness is the fucking return to the golden age of Saturn. So I guess if you have cancer awareness, then I guess you're aware. Because cancer is the symbol of the keystone on the arc. The arch. That is the final piece of the final piece to the plan before the hammer drops. You better start looking up these symbols and understanding what they are and get that bullshit off your car. You stupid, ignorant fucks out there that are driving around with this, I support our troops by having a Nazi symbol on my car. If you want to be a Nazi, shave your fucking head. See, that's not real Nazism. That's just what they put out to the news, and the news says, well, that's Nazis. No. The real boys are still operating from a long time ago. Go look up the Teutonic Knights. Those are the ones that were at odds with the Masons that were the Knights Templar. So the old Masons were the Knights Templar. The old Nazis were the Teutonic Knights. See, look at this reality like this. Look at this reality like this. Satan or Saturn or whatever you want to call him or her that runs this place doesn't care who runs this place underneath him as long as you get done what he or she or it wants done. Oh, so imagine a big room that has a bunch of little kids in it, like a daycare center. And I don't care what you kids do to each other, as long as when I want you to do something, you get done what I want done. And I have an agenda, and I don't give a shit which one of you punks gets it. You'll get rewarded for it, but you're going to get it done. So if you guys want to bump each other off, this is where wars come from. If you want to bump each other off, cut each other's throats, and create fake religions, I don't give a shit. I want what's mine, okay? And if I don't get what's mine, you're going to be grounded. And when I say that, grounded in the dirt, like JFK, okay? I'm getting mine. So, see, he or she doesn't care who is winning. So don't ever think the United States is exempt from anything. He doesn't care. She doesn't care. As long as she gets the end result that she or he wants, it doesn't matter. It could be Russia, China, the United States, Mexico, Ecuador. It doesn't matter. It's a bunch of pirates, and they all have one big loot. And the owner of the gold will give it to whatever pirate carries out the orders and makes it happen. Okay, so it doesn't matter to these guys if they cut each other's throat and put a little bit of a change in their pocket in the process. That's why you have wars, because there's all one agenda. They're all working for the same agenda. Okay, but they all have their own way about going about it, and if they have to kill each other every now and then, they do. So understand that. The ruler of this planet does not care who makes the agenda happen or how the agenda happens, as long as it happens on the time scale that he or she has set. And that's why it's so ruthless. It's absolutely ruthless. And it doesn't care. See, they try to water that theory down by saying that Rothschild said, "Give me your money and I care not who makes your laws." No. There's a bigger agenda behind it. The Rothschilds and the Bilderbergs is bullshit. It's a diversion. Who was around before the Bilderbergs and the Rothschilds? Keep going. And before that, keep going. And before that, keep going. Before the Christian Bible, keep going. Before the Hebrew writings, keep going. Go all the way back to Samaria and Babylonia. And then start looking in there and see it's the same story. It's the same story. There's only one story. So just so you understand that this stuff here, these guys are talking in their own language. Jesus laid it out right here. He showed you right here when the trouble would start. And we're in this period right now. See, isn't that nice? Isn't that nice how they've got the little drawing there?